Were you guys ever told to slow down or not do as much in the matches or stop the innovation, anything like that?
I don't remember. Like I said, for the most part, guys always liked working with us. I mean, they always felt like it was, they knew it was going to be easy. They weren't going to get hurt. They knew the match was going to be good. Their only thing was they were going to blow up. I mean, because our pace was so fast. But they would take that over working with some guys that were going to pound them or just have horrible matches. We for the most part, everybody we worked with, man, I think both sides enjoyed it. We loved working with the Rougeaus. Of course, the Brainbusters. Powers of Pain, everybody thought was going to be a problem because
that was Warlord and Barbarian.
Yeah, and they were monsters. I mean, they were just huge. But see, they were both super nice guys. They were both, hey, whatever you guys want to do, and we put something together. That was some of the best matches. I mean, we never would have thought it looking at it, those guys and us, but we put together something that we just flowed perfect. It made sense. Everything we did was a combination thing to one of those guys or something where they would, end up nailing their own selves, and we work off that. But we even, with them, we even had a good match with Demolition, even though of all the matches we had, for some reason, those were a little choppy. And I don't know the reason. They never flowed like the rest of them. But working with Orient Express was absolutely a pleasure, man. It was so easy. When it was Paul Diamond, and it was good when it was Sato and Tanaka. But when remember it was Kato, which was Paul Diamond under the mask. That was bad company. We was getting to work with those guys. And I think probably if you had to say the single best tag match ever that I've been involved in would be the Royal Rumble in Miami. I think in '91. It was the opening match of the Rumble. It was us against Orient Express with Paul Diamond. And man, it was just magic. It was just perfect flow. And the thing was, it was almost like no thought process. It just happened.
Did Shawn change at all when you guys were in WWE, or WWF towards the beginning of the stay there, or was he still the same Shawn from the AWA days and Central States days?
From my perception, from my standpoint, he changed. Maybe from someone else's, but of course, I knew him from the get-go. From the kid that was over there with the pants pulled up under the chest. There was Shawn and I, we did a lot together. We roomed together, which most teams didn't do at all. And then, let alone, we for like 6-7 years, every night roomed together. Which other guys would say, "How do y'all do that? How do y'all not hate each other?" And we got along great. We experienced quite a lot of crazy stuff, man. Some of the stuff, I guess, I'd like to tell someone, but I don't get anybody in trouble. As far as with the female stuff, but we with some crazy stuff, like the gunshots, like I was telling you earlier. We were shot at when we were living in Minneapolis, and he had his 300 ZX. We'd been out partying just really hard, and we got this girl, and I was riding in the back. He has the little flip up back of the 300 ZX. Me and her riding back there with it open, and he's riding. I think he was giving the girl a ride home. He wasn't messing around. So we were had to go by this girl's house that thought I was with, as it turns out. I hammered. This back in the days of halcyons, which I don't know if those are still around, but you take the little blue things that look like Valiums, but you take a couple of them, and it's just kind of, it's actually made for sleeping, I think. But if you take it and you have a couple of drinks, you really feel good. You have too many drinks with it, you won't remember anything. And so evidently I had too many of them, or too many drinks. That I do remember being in the back of his car and him pulling up and saying, "Well, hurry up." And a couple minutes went by, and we're waiting on the girl, and she ain't coming. And I'm like, "Oh, that's it. I'm not going home by myself." So I go up and start knocking on the door of his house where she went in, and there ain't no answer. And we know she just went in there, so I'm like getting mad or knocking louder. and a little louder. Finally, banging on the door, and the door flies open as the shotgun comes out. Oh shit! I turn around, start running, and it went bam, bam, bam. Shawn told me, he said, "I can see the grass falling right behind your feet." We were diving in the back of his car, and it's just taking off, and then just hearing gunshots for all the way up the street. And I don't know if who that was, a boyfriend, a father, or maybe it was the wrong house. I don't know what the hell it was, but I mean, we that kind of stuff, and man, that struggle, and I mean, you got to get close when you have like a special bond to pull each other through the tough times that we went through in Tennessee. Like just barely, 1 meal a day, split in a hotel room. We had, there was nobody partied as much as we did. I mean, there was absolutely nobody. There was a couple of guys that, DiBiase and Jake Snake they partied quite a bit. But nobody, absolutely nobody partied as much. Shawn and I there would be times that on Monday nights, we'd be out hunting someplace to party. In a small town, I mean, and we'd be thinking about, do we really want to? Yeah, let's go ahead. We'd just get hammered. And then Tuesday night would be in a smaller town. There's just nothing going on. But if there was one girl in the place, just go get drunk. It was, I can't tell you how many times. It was Friday. It was time to party. We looked at each other like, we'll burn out. That was time to go. And we're burnt out. And we just like. And I was telling you, Denver, our town, there was a time where when we because of the rockers, I've been trying to say this as safely so nobody gets in trouble as possible. Because of the rockers, the character, these rock and roll party guys, the image that they give. So I guess a lot of women believe that that's how we would be, so they try to find us from place to place where we hang out and wherever the hotels we'd be at and lounges. And so the guys used to love hanging around us just because there would be tons of women around. And in Denver in particular, and this is, you can ask any guys that were around at that time, this is very true. The executive, I could be giving another plug here, I don't know if they still exist. The Executive Towers in Denver was right across the street from the arena, the rest of that. And so it was a lounge there. So it was easy. Everybody just knew all the wrestlers stayed there, so they'd come right across the street. And boy, did we partied, man. And the boys, like, if you wanted to know where are the rockers, what room, what floor, there's like 7 floors. What floor, where are the rockers? They said, don't just take the elevator. Oh, Curt Hennig, as a matter of fact, what it said is, all you do is just open every floor, elevator, and when you see all the women sitting down the hallway, that's their floor. And it was true because, we'll just say one of us, so nobody gets in trouble. One of us used to love women. So messing around with women, I didn't, that sounded bad. Messing around with women wasn't, well, Shawn was free at a point. He was married for a while, then they got divorced, so then he was able to, to mess around. Before that, he couldn't mess around. So, this is how it worked back in the day. They're in Denver. And a couple other places, but Denver was the best. It honestly would be women lined up outside the door. And basically, you'd see whoever you wanted to hang out with for a little bit, have them come in the room. And I'm sure like the actual rock and roll guys, not the rockers, wrestlers, they get the same. This is how it works. They'll know what I'm talking about. You bring them in and you do your thing or whatever, and you say goodnight, you open the door. There's 10, 15, 20 girls sitting there and, oh, hey, Georgia, how you doing? Come here. I haven't seen you in a while. Come in and whatever, and, however long or whatever, open the door. Who do you have met? You come here and meet you, somebody new. We'd have 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock flights in the morning, straight from the last person. There'll still be 1 or 2 stragglers out there at 8 in the morning that you just didn't get around to. and you had to go catch the flight. So it was, those days. Like I said, he was, at the time he was married, he never did any of that. So, well, let me see. Well, there was a couple other towns that were very similar, but I don't get him in trouble, so I'm gonna leave that alone. Leave it alone right there. But yeah, we experienced quite a bit,
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.